Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. The Knicks dominate Toronto tonight. No R.J. Barrett, no Emmanuel Quickly, and the Raptors missed both of those guys. Jalen Brunson at 29, Cat 22-10. Knicks pretty much a wire-to-wire win, and they beat Toronto for the 5th straight time this year and the 13th straight time overall, 112-95. So what does it mean? Big picture. The Knicks are a lock now. They've clinched third in the East. Boston is a lock for 2. So it's going to be Celtics second, Knicks third, Cavs fourth. Atlanta beat the Cavs. They are assured of a top 6 spot. After that, it will be determined on Sunday, which is the last day of the regular season. Great to have you with us, Bill Pidto, along with Wally Szczerbiak. So the Knicks take care of business. We won't know until after Sunday's games, Wally, who the Knicks take on in the first round of the playoffs. It will be whoever finishes 6th overall in the Eastern Conference.
That was a good job by the Knicks. 3 good wins in a row here this week. A big one against Atlanta, big one against Boston. Then you beat Toronto, who you've dominated all season long and won 13 straight, going back for many years prior. So that was a good job by the Knicks. Now that they can kind of rest up on Sunday and get ready to see who they're going to play and start prepping, because this is what we've been waiting for. We know this team is ready for the playoffs. We're excited to see them in a playoff type atmosphere, and this place is going to be rocking.
Defense was great tonight.
Yes.
Knicks gave up only 36 points in the first half, fewest they've allowed in the first half all year. So they're up 15 at the break, and they just kept it rolling in the second half, led by 15 after 3, and it was basically over after that.
It was. And what did you say? The Raptors need this game, and there's no Quickly, no Barrett. So the Knicks were like, all right, if you don't have 2 of your top guns, then we're going to go right at you to start this game. I thought this team is really showing a lot of continuity between the bench and the starters. Everyone that's out there getting minutes is really producing at a high level. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns playing really good basketball. Game 81 on a back-to-back. These guys got fresh legs, and that's a credit to the training staff, the coaching staff, making sure everyone has stayed healthy throughout the course of this season. This team is ready for a championship run. I firmly believe it. They're playing at a high level. Everyone's groomed and ready to go. Huck Porty there off the bench getting some minutes. This team feels a lot different than I think last year's team did going into the playoffs.
What way?
Because of the depth that this team has up and down the roster. You can play a lot of guys quality minutes, and they can make things happen on an NBA floor.
You know, your point, one of the key sequences was the early second quarter. Mm-hmm. And exactly. No Deuce McBride, no Mitchell Robinson. Right. But you got Alvarado getting minutes,
and he
great. Made tremendous impact. He was a plus 14 in the first half.
Yep.
That bench came in the early second quarter. Had a lot to do with the Raptors scoring only 15 second quarter points.
I know, and you didn't have that last year. There's no way. Starters were always playing big minutes. The bench didn't get an opportunity to make anything happen. But this bench unit is really playing with a lot of chemistry, and I like the setup with Shamet and Clarkson playing together. Alvarado hadn't played in the last couple games, but he was ready. You could see the energy he played with. You can see the pace he brings to this team. And then Huck Porty, you know he's going to hit the boards, a lot like Mitchell Robinson. When Mitchell Robinson doesn't play on back-to-backs, Huck Porty gets minutes, and he produced very well. Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, good showing by those two guys. You know, overall, this was another good dominant win. I'm with you, though. I don't know why the Raptors, when they needed this game in the standings, they didn't look like they needed it the way they played tonight. You know, with 2 of their guys out. You know, the Knicks took care of business against a wounded Raptor team and got a good win.
All right, Jalen Brunson, you know, you look at the box score, 29 points. I hate to call it. Yeah, right.
How many rebounds, Bill?
I'm not worried about rebounds tonight.
Are you sure?
Jalen Brunson, breathe like a winner, presented by Blue Area, led the way with 29.
All right, he had 3 rebounds, so more than last night. We love that 29 points, though. He just looks really good. I think he looks really quick, too. You know, his ankle last year, he had that ankle injury, so he missed most of the month of March coming down into the playoffs. Then he was obviously really good in the playoffs. But this year, it just looks like he's fresh, and that's a great thing. Game 81, for you to be fresh, like it's a long grind to play 81 NBA basketball games at this point in the season. To have this team look this fresh mentally and physically is a really good sign going into this playoff push.
You've been in this situation. They're going to play the Charlotte Hornets on Sunday. Game means nothing.
Right.
Maybe we see obviously Mikal Bridges will play. Who knows about the rest of the roster?
Right.
Then what happens? I mean, you've been in the scenarios where you have a week to prepare. What is a week off like for a team getting ready for the first round?
Well, you want to see who you're playing first.
But you may not know, though. Well, you will know.
You will know. Yeah, the playing.
Right,
they're going to play the 6th seed.
Right.
So you're going to get a stack of, like, it used to be DVDs back in the day, but you can just watch it on an iPad now. You're going to get specific video on whatever player you're probably going to be matched up against. That's the first and foremost. You start going through that. It's individual kind of coaching and scouting on who your matchup is going to be. Then you start diving into the team concepts of how they play, all their plays, scouting them, watching film on them, along with developing an offensive game plan on how you want to attack whatever team. The extent that I remember Mike Brown and the preparation of the coaching staff getting ready for playoff series, it was like big-time homework. It was like a book report. You had to read this much, you had to watch a lot of film, and you had to really be prepared on the tendencies of each individual player that you were going to be guarding and was going to be guarding you.
Raptors can still finish 6th. Knicks would love that. Knicks have beaten the Raptors by 16.
Just don't give them any bulletin board material. Whoever they play, they play.
16,
Act
16,
like
17, 22, 27 has been the margin of victory. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
Meantime, Karl Anthony Towns, 22-10. He was fantastic tonight. Our thrilling moment presented by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on.
Yeah, Towns was awesome. He loves playing against Pidto. You know, Pirtle's a guy that he could take advantage of his foot speed. He can drive by him. Also, you know, being included in the offense and, you know, getting an opportunity to play pick and roll, kind of dissect the defense with some of his passing ability and skills. But his foot speed looked really good. And this is another guy, game 81. He's blowing by other centers. Look at the finishes here. His legs
tortures Jakob Pidto. Let's be honest about
him. I completely agree. That's a really tough matchup for Jakob Pidto. But I just like how spry and athletic he looks. Look at these dunks. This is game 81. You know, Mike Brown's done a good job of managing minutes. He has a really fluid rotation. And, you know, this team is ready to rock and roll. And I am very excited for how wide open the kind of East is. The West is going to be monster matchups, all up and down, 1 through 8. And the playoffs are going to be must-see TV in the NBA. I can't wait to be locked in.
All right, let us bring in Monica McNutt. As always, she helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, what did you think tonight?
That was fun. The tradition continues, at least of this season, in terms of the Knicks being able to take care of business versus the Toronto Raptors. A 5-game sweep on the season, 13 total victories. I like that you got so many different guys involved in this one, y'all. We know that the rotation has gotten tighter here late in the season, and in the playoffs, you have with the play-in, you're going to have that time off. So I thought it was valuable minutes to be shared around the roster.
I'm with you, Monica. It's amazing what a week can do as far as therapy. You know, the Knicks, the last 3 games have just looked like themselves. And there was a little panic setting in a couple weeks ago. What's this team going to be like in the playoffs? I don't know about you, Monica. This is as confident as I've felt about this team all season long. And this is a great time to feel this way when the playoffs are right on the horizon.
I definitely like some of the good things that are happening. But, Wally, I got to say, Pidto, I got your back on this one. I will say, Wally, don't love the rebounding in the last couple of games.
Okay.
That's just because, to your point, like, we're running out of opportunities to tune up, right? That play-in week, sure, they'll get a couple of good practices in versus one another, but it's hard to replicate in-game energy, right? And so this team, I think we have all seen this over the course of the year. When you think of that sluggish start coming out of the All-Star break, they're a team that's about rhythm, and so they got to tweak practices and such during the play-in week to make sure that they stay sharp in the return. But that's the only little habit that I'm like, ooh, I don't love finishing the season that way. And they have done their part to control their destiny with that 3rd seed. So who knows exactly what we'll see on Sunday night to close out the regular season.
All right, we need to point this out. If the Knicks and the Celtics each win their first-round playoff series,
right.
Knicks, Celtics, second round. Boston, Monica, the 2nd seed, the Knicks, the 3rd seed. That means Boston would have home court advantage.
Yeah, and you know what, Pidto? I think you got to roll in there with the same confidence that you had last season. You got to get in rhythm in that first series and get to all of the good habits so that you can go and play your best basketball. One thing I will give Mike Brown, and he said this way earlier during the course of the season, he talked about when teams peak. And if we are sort of beginning to see the best version of this team overall, and maybe we get to the best version as the playoffs continue to progress, that is a good sign, right? Because those are the teams that he talked about going on to win with, particularly with his time with the Warriors. So if that's the case, then so be it. You want to get through that first round series sharp, healthy, and playing your best basketball if you got to roll up to the other Garden.
All right, Monica, we'll see you on Sunday's regular season finale.
Sounds good, guys.
Welcome back. Knicks, of course, heading into the playoffs. They're going to be the 3rd seed. We have complete pre- and post-game coverage of every Knicks playoff game all through the postseason right here on MSG, or stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports App. And stick with the home team for every game. All right, so we went over the highlights in the 150 Wally. Detroit victorious tonight, but we already knew they were going to be number 1.
Yes.
Boston, a huge win. They lock up number 2. Knicks are 3. Cavs beaten by the Hawks. That means the Cavs will finish 4. Atlanta's going to be either 5th or 6th. And still alive, Raptors, Magic, 76ers, all still alive for a top 6 spot. Hornets are a lock for a play-in spot. So it's all going to come down to Sunday in terms of determining who the Knicks will play in the first round.
We have to see also who has the tiebreaker between the Raptors and the Magic, because the Magic
actually may have that here.
Yeah, if you have that, because the Magic, if they tie the Raptors and they have the tiebreaker.
Hawks have the tie. We don't care about the Hawks, but the Hawks have the tiebreaker against Orlando, and I think Orlando has a tiebreaker against Toronto. Let me confirm that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So if Orlando wins their last 2 games, they sneak into 6.
Right.
They get out of the play-in, and the Knicks would play Orlando. So you just got to be ready whoever you play. And the luxury the Knicks have is you can sit and you can rest and you can gear up for preparation time, and you know who you're going to play. It's not going to be a play-in type scenario where the 1 and 2 seed.
Is that a disadvantage if you're 1 or 2 and you don't know who you're going to be playing?
They didn't have the play-in when I played.
Right.
So I would think it's a little bit of a disadvantage, because when you know who you're going to play, you have like a whole week to prepare for that first game and for the series. But when you're watching the play-in, you're preparing and going to practice each day thinking, we're going to prepare for this team, we're going to prepare for that team, and you got to see how it plays out. But you got to split time for who you're preparing for when you're watching play-in scenarios.
Raptors have the tiebreaker over Orlando.
There you go.
So that's important.
So it looks like Raptors are probably going to be the 6th seed.
Right, and that would be a first-round matchup potentially against the Knicks. All right, Mike Brown's post-game comments around the corner. Knicks beating Toronto tonight easily, 112-95. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Knicks pretty much a wire-to-wire win, blowing out the Raptors, 112-95. We continue now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. So Sunday, it's a final game of the regular season. Knicks and Charlotte, note the start time. Pregame at 5:30 and the game at 6. Mike Brown's postgame comments tonight, as always, presented by Chase.
Another good start by our guys. You know, we talked about trying to start games a little better, and I thought we started the game the right way tonight. You know, everybody that played contributed. I thought Jordan off the bench gave us a big lift. Clarkson on both ends of the floor. Jose was big for us. He was big on both ends of the floor for us tonight. You know, he's been our main guy leading the cheers and uplifting everybody from the bench these last 2 games, even though he hadn't played. And so he's mentally been present at a really high level. And so when his number was called tonight to play, you know, major minutes for us, it was easy for him to do because, you know, his mind was right, you know, these last few games. But big lift by Jose. Our guys were really active defensively. You know, almost every loose ball that was out there on the ground we came up with. And, you know, Cat with a double-double. Mikal was big for us defensively. His physicality defensively was huge, and he guarded different guys. Sometimes he guarded the point guard. Sometimes he guarded Ingram. Other times he guarded Scotty Barnes, and he did a really good job. He was our defensive player of the game, but he did a really good job on both ends, especially defensively, with his physicality and not sending the guys to the free throw line. So good win by our group tonight.
Have these last 2 games created confidence ahead of the playoffs and connection?
Have they what? I'm sorry.
Created confidence and connection ahead of the playoffs?
Yeah, you know, any time, you know, you win, it helps with the belief, especially if you win doing the things that you talked about trying to do going into the game. And, you know, we've been harping on our starts. We've been harping on our physicality. And, we were pretty good in those areas tonight. And so to get a win while doing those things adds that confidence, adds that belief to the overall, group. And, the groups, you go through ups and your downs, but the group has been connected for a while now, and that's a lot of fun to see.
This locks you into the third seed. Is that Freddie's first? Just thoughts on that, and then also what that plan? Does that change plans for Sunday to sit guys and stuff?
I'm not sure. We'll talk about it broadly. You want to try to go into the playoffs as healthy as possible, but we'll discuss it as a staff here in the next day or so, and then we'll see what happens.
Mike, with the fifth time that you guys beat the Raptors, what do you think is the consistent throughout these 5 games, and what special touches that makes this game more unique when it's close to with the postseason, where you have the chance to meet them during playoffs?
Well, they're a hard-playing team. They really try to get up in you and pressure you and try to speed you up. And it's bothered us, but the more you can play against it, hopefully the more you're able to handle it. And I think as the games went along, our guys got better handling their pressure and their physicality, and so I thought that was important. Important for getting a feel for that over the 5 games, doing a better job with that, and then they play fast offensively, and so. To be able to feel their speed every game, knowing that you have to get back in transition, has been good for us to feel every game. And I don't know who we'll play in the playoffs, but we've played a lot of these teams 4 or 5 times or whatever it is, and just like teams feel when it comes to us, we feel we have a pretty good feel on what most teams want to do, and it's no different for teams looking at us. So we're just excited about getting to the playoffs no matter who we play.
Mike, there's been points this season where you said the defense had the offense had the defense, and it's flip-flop. At this point, do you feel like this is as close to even as it's been, or is there one side of the ball that you still feel a little bit better than the other side right now?
We defensively, we feel like we've been playing well. There's a level of physicality that we're bringing to the table every night without fouling. These last few games, our pick and roll defense has been pretty good. People are filling us on our contests, and then we still got to make sure we hit bodies when that ball goes up. But I like where we are on that end. And then even offensively, we face teams that switch. We face teams that cross-match, putting their 5 on Josh. And we faced it all year, and it's been fantastic from the standpoint that we have struggled at times with it. But we've gotten better, as the season has gone along. And we feel pretty good about facing zone. We feel pretty good about facing, a team that's going to cross match against us, and we feel pretty good about teams that are going to switch against us. So offensively, we feel like we're in a pretty good place too.
Mike, it looks like Cat is as comfortable within the offense as he's been maybe all year. Do you agree with that? And B, can you maybe pinpoint a turning point for him when he looked like he became as comfortable as he's been all year during the stretch?
No, I think he is pretty comfortable, but it's not all on his shoulders. I got to take some of that too, because I had to figure out how to help him become comfortable without taking away from everybody else, and that's what a season's for. It's for you to experiment or dabble in this and dabble in that, or pull back here or give a little bit more there, whatever it takes to try to make sure it fits well for everybody without making it too one-sided. And so we feel like we're in a pretty good place with it. I don't know. I think it's been a couple of months now that we've felt pretty good about it. It's not going to always be perfect, but it definitely is in a good place, in a better place than when we started.
Errol Huckporty, one of many bench players to contribute tonight as the Knicks beat the Raptors 112-95.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
All right, back with Wally here. Final day of the NBA's regular season is Sunday. All these games you see on your screen, 6 o'clock starts. Knicks wrap up against the Hornets. Magic, Celtics. Magic still alive for top 6 spot. Hawks are in a top 6 spot, but either 5th or 6th. Sixers still alive for top 6 spot. And the Raptors very much alive for a top 6 spot. They take on the Nets. So everything is set in terms of 1 through 4. Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, Cavs. Hawks are in either 5th or 6th. And then Sunday's going to determine, Wally, a lot of permutations and machinations. You better have the tiebreaker formulas.
All I worry about is who are the Knicks going to play. And the Raptors look like they'll probably beat the Nets because they don't want to fall into the play-in. They don't want to fall down to 7. So they'll either be 6, or if the Hawks lose to the Heat, then the Raptors bump to 5 and the Hawks would be 6. And that would mean the Knicks would play the Hawks.
Now, Miami.
So that's the only one that I'm
Miami
worried
has
about.
nothing really to play for.
That's right. So
we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But we know the Knicks are 3rd. We know they're going to be playing whoever finishes 6th. All to be determined on Sunday. Back with more after this. Stay with us, everybody. Knicks wrap up the regular season Sunday. Note the start time, Charlotte's in town, 5:30 pregame game at 6. You can also stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports app. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.